someone down there?
So we can just leave it sitting here and chill.
Would you
Go talk and say.
go down and talk on the microphone? Because yeah, talk on the microphone. Let me see if it's picking you up.
Good morning. We'll be starting the program at about 7:45. We welcome you to our live feed of the 21st Memorial Anniversary.
Test 1, 2.
You got it.
Can you hear me like this? I don't have to hold it.
Is that better?
It's a delay.
Can
So.
you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we need to cut those
I just
lights.
have to
You
talk
know, 'cause
loud, I
they're
guess.
on the stage, so I need to cut these lights.
Like this. Can you hear me, Belinda?
Yes. I'm gonna want to cut those stage lights off, but I need to get these cut on so y'all can.
I'd recommend not speaking softly.
What?
I said don't speak softly.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, because we're using the mic here,
I see.
and it's no speaker up here.
Okay.
So it's all coming through this.
Okay.
What does that do?
I'm trying to dim this. You see, it's got a glare on it. Let's see what it is. It's got a glare on it,
Mm-hmm.
and I was trying to get it where there's not a glare on it. So,
Can you put any house lights?
well, I'm sort of saying if I cut those that's off back there in the back.
Are they on or off and not dimmable?
Yeah, let me go see if I can look on this.
Is this where Lane wants to? You know, text in my phone in case you can't reach you.
Is the glare off?
No, say. Of course, it's a delay. So it's not seeing me yet. See, here's. Yeah, so you're just not getting there. Oh, they did improve. No. I wonder if you put any light. Where's the switches?
Okay, there's some lights for these. And we'll cut them off.
Are they up there? You need to show me this stuff. How did you dim this light on the stage for that dimmer? Or right over here?
Yes. Very much. This says sliding left stage lights. Oh, this right here is supposed to be for the.
You have to press it.
It's supposed to be for these lights, and they're not coming on.
You have to turn that switch on. What does that switch do? The right, directly below, far right.
Oh, this one here, that's
No.
for the.
No, that one. That one.
It's the sliding. There we go.
Ceiling. Oh, I see it. I see it.
How does that affect it?
What is
so
that
people
one
can
do?
see. That's the slide up here.
Oh. All right, let's see what that looks like. So you pump the lights.
Still, we can't. There's still not clear.
It's coming from the stage.
There's lights on that stage. So let me see if I can dim these a little bit.
Is there? We don't have a podium on it, do we?
Mm-mm. If we cut on these stage lights, it's going to be too bright.
Mm-hmm.
Watch.
Real stage. Can you do stage?
It's back to
Stage. Can't remember. Which one does stage?
let's cut it off. It's just going to have to be like that.
Okay, can you? Why do we have knobs off of stage right, stage left?
They're pushed.
They're broke. Middle dimmer is broke.
Yeah, because you turn one to.
Ooh. Is there much glare? It's translating what we say. You know, voices that record. Speakers read. Do you have an extra microphone?
There's three in there.
No, they're plugged There to your computer. Yeah, right on the mic.
I just check.
Yes. Yeah. Let me get down there and check it right quick.
Do you need these? Did you just sit
No,
these?
I was going to use those if we needed them.
Right, so that's better than it was. It's much better now.
Sometime we need to know what you want me to show whenever I go.
It's 34 seconds away.
We're going in.
We're streaming on Facebook, but I was telling you, microphones cut off the computer, so the projectors on it, the louder it is. Because of those speakers, you can't be that.
There might be a mouse up there. Ah, or pagan.
It's a,
Well,
it's a part of that.
Yeah, I had
It's a Cajun, South Louisiana Cajun version of the movie.
For the first 10 years of my life, pretty much, I was raised in an old house that my mama, she was over. And it was probably, no word was over. You know, just, and then God was good to John. I don't know, why John? John did.
Yeah.
So the bigger root of John,
Regular
basically the same thing.
Yep. No, it's not a nice picture, so. Well, the computer, oh, yeah, it's right there.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, good to see you.
Did you hear what I was coming in about once? So you need your projector, little projector.
Yes.
Because we're not getting much of it. But, you know, you're just like, that's really cool. See, I drove by it, wandered in there, Jesus. Wait. So what of the buildings there? When in front of the shop, it's 42 or 40. And the drive, it's 42.
that's unfortunate.
Yes, we
We're down
have.
the line,
Yes.
so, Steve.
Morning. How are you? Good. Did you get your haircut?
Yes.
Short, I like
It's
it.
way
It fits
short.
you well.
Oh, thank you.
Kyle Butler cut it for me. Oh, it looks good. Yeah, I know. How are you, honey? Good, how are you?
Took my face. I told you to do it.
How are you?
She was just fine, but she had it all. And I see that she's in it. And that's awesome. It's just fine. And the doctor said, I'm gonna get down here. Like I'll just, I'll see.
Well, I think I need to go about 3 in or something in case we gotta get up. So, y'all get up. Which one is? That seat's broke? Which one? Check this seat.
It's got a bracket on the side. They all went back to the back. Yeah, we decided that was from all those years of being hot and being chilled. So this is broke.
Okay.
That doesn't sense.
How are you? You coming this way?
I'm going back one piece.
Okay, come right on.
You remember the cake that was made by
Nobody cut it.
nobody
Oh, yeah, because that's a big deal, you know. Nobody would touch the cake. You know, usually everybody devours cake, but they would not cut that cake. Yeah.
But anyhow, it's in that magazine.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to see you all this morning and for this commemoration of the 21st year of the Space Shuttle Columbia disaster. I want to welcome everyone here, and whether you're family or friends or one who's been helping through the years with this commemoration, it's good to see you, and just thankful that you're here. Of course, we celebrate the accomplishments of the astronauts who were fallen, and also the ones who perished in the recovery efforts, and we're going to talk a little bit more about them in just a few minutes. So I thank you for joining us today. I think it's a fitting tribute to those who we lost 21 years ago. And we'll begin now with our invocation. Brother Troy Richardson, pastor at First Baptist Church here in Hemphill, will bring our invocation. Would you stand, and after the invocation, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag over there, and then we'll continue our program. Troy.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we come together today in remembrance of those astronauts and their families, Lord, that we've lost so much in that disaster 21 years ago. But we've learned so much, and we are made a better nation and better people, a better community because of their sacrifice and the sacrifice of those that we lost in their search and rescue. And Lord, I just pray today that as you continue to heal our land and bring comfort to families and those who love America and those who love this space program, Lord, I just pray that you'd bless us with your presence as we remember them in a way that is fitting and it would honor you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Would you join me now, and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. The Sabine County Columbia Memorial Committee was formed in April of 2003 by the county judge at that time, Mr. Jack Lee, This committee is comprised of local citizens and individuals who were a part of the local recovery efforts here in Sabine County. And the goal was to establish lasting memorials to the Columbia crew and to the two who perished in the recovery. And the committee has maintained great relationships with NASA and with the families of the fallen, and have done several things in the community. You notice the star out in front of Dairy Queen, and also the granite markers and different things that the committee has done and still is planning to do in the future. The Patricia Huffman Smith NASA Museum, our museum, is celebrating its 13th year today and 13th anniversary, and also wants to have a lasting memorial to the astronauts and to the ones who died in the recovery efforts. And we're going to hear more about the museum committee after just a little bit. And right now, though, we're wanting to have the reading of Joshua 1:6-9. As you recall, many of you, that's the verses of Scripture that Rick Husband read to his team before they went up into space, and so it's a fitting tribute that we read that as well. And so I think that you'll find inside your program that, and again, Brother Troy is going to come, and he's going to lead us as we read together Joshua 1:6-9. Would you stand and let's do that?
I want to invite you to join with me in reading, if you'd like to read out loud from Joshua 1:6-9, either off the screen or off your program. Be strong and of good courage, for to this people you shall divide as an inheritance the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. The book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate in it day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid, nor be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go.
Will you remain standing, and we're going to have a moment of silence at this time. Thank you. You may be seated. We continue our program this morning with the remembrance of those who died in mission STS-107 21 years ago. And what we normally do, and we would like to continue in that tradition, is read who the astronauts were and the ones who died in the recovery, and then something about them, and it will be on the screen here as well, the names and pictures, and if you would listen, and I'll tell you a little bit about them. The first is Rick Husband. He was the commander of the Space Shuttle 107, the Columbia. He was selected by NASA in 1994. Rick was a graduate of Amarillo High School in 1975, and in 1980 he earned the Bachelor of Science degree in Mechanical Engineering, and in 1990 the Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, and he was also the Chief Safety Officer for the Astronaut Office, and he was a pilot on the STS-96 in the year 1996. He logged more than 235 hours in space. Next is William C. McCool. and he was a pilot of the Columbia. He was selected by NASA in 1996. He was a commander in the U.S. Navy. In 1983, he earned the Bachelor of Science in Applied Science. In 1985, a Master of Science in Computer Science. In 1992, he got the Master of Science in Aeronautical Engineering, and this was his first space flight. Michael P. Anderson was the Mission Specialist 3 and Payload Commander of the STS-107. He was selected in 1994 to be part of NASA. He was a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Air Force. In 1981, he received the Bachelor of Science in Physics and Astronomy, and in 1990, the Master of Science in Physics. He flew on the STS-89 in the year 1990. He logged over 211 hours in space prior to the Columbia disaster. Kupna, or K.C. Chawla, was selected by NASA in 1994. She was the flight engineer and mission specialist on the Columbia, and she was FAA certified flight instructor in 1982, got the Bachelor of Science in Aeronautical Engineering. In 1984, the Master of Science in Aerospace Engineering. In 1988, she received a doctorate in Aerospace Engineering. She was a prime robotic arm operator in the STS-87 in 1987, and she logged more than 376 hours in space prior to the STS-107. David Brown was selected by NASA in 1996. He was the mission specialist 1 on STS-107. He was a captain in the U.S. Navy. In 1978, he received a Bachelor of Science in Biology. In 1982, the doctorate in medicine, and this was his first space flight. Laurel B. Salton Clark was mission specialist on the Columbia. In 1983, she received a Bachelor of Science in Zoology. In 1987, the doctorate of medicine. She was selected by NASA in 1996, and this was her first space flight. Ilan Ramon was approved by NASA in 1998 and was a payload specialist on the Columbia. He was a colonel in the Israeli Air Force. In 1987, he received the Bachelor of Science in Electronics and Computer Engineering. In 1997, he was selected by the Israeli Air Force, and this was his first space flight. Then we go to the ones who died in the recovery effort. Charles Krennic assisted in the Columbia efforts, and he was an aviation specialist for the Texas Forest Service. He graduated from Bay City High School in 1973, and in 1977 he began working with the Texas Forest Service. In 1984, he was the recipient of the Director's Award for Field Technician, and in 1989 he received the Director's Award for Team Effort. And then Jules F. Buzz Meir, Jr. Also assisted in the recovery efforts of the STS-107. He was the lead pilot for Papillon Airways Incorporated. In 1964, he graduated from Rayne High School. From 67 to 71, he served in the U.S. Army, and in 1974, he got a degree in business with a minor in accounting. He logged over 1,000 combat hours while serving in the Army. From 1979 to 1989, he served in the Alabama Army National Guard. He served 18 years as flight instructor for the Department of Defense, and the last 7 years as lead pilot for Papillon Airways. So we honor all these brave people who gave their lives 21 years ago, and we're thankful for them. Well, at this time, we're going to have a museum commentary, and Marcia and Cooper and Vicki Thomas will come, and Belinda Gay will probably add in there as well. And so, if y'all would, ladies, come together or separately or whatever you want to do. Thank you.
You know she's handed us the microphone. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, everyone, here in Sabine County and to our museum. You know, I think back 21 years ago, it was no way that we could have done this without the people in the community of this county. Excuse my voice, but anyway, it's always an emotional time when we come here every year, and brings back a lot of memories. But I just want to also welcome you and thank all the people that were here during that time that helped us do the work that we did, because we couldn't do it without the local people, the vendors, just local people that lived here. It was a lot of people that just came out that morning. That first morning that we started searching, you know, we had over 1,000 people or more there, and that was just unbelievable in a small town to have that many here. But we want to talk a little bit about our museum and what we're doing now. I will touch this a little bit. After 2 years, you know, just a few months afterwards, County Judge Lee put us together as a community. And I remember going in and meeting with him and just going, what do we do, you know? And he had a vision, and he instilled on us what we needed to accomplish. So, you know, you kind of reach out, you lose a lot of people, and you really don't know what's the right road to go. But he had he was a godly man, and that instilled in us what we needed to reach out and establish here. We also formed a committee with the museum here, the library, and it went on from there. And then we were able to meet with the families 2 years later. Sometimes you go, well, why didn't y'all do it a little quicker? Well, sometimes you got to do it in God's way. You know, God, you got to be patient, and He will work in time, and He accomplished a lot during that time. Well, when we met with them after the first time, we had to go to NASA. They had us there at the astronaut building where they all meet and train. And, you know, that was really the first time I've ever been there. So I was kind of like a country mouse going into the city. And when we got there, all the families started coming in. And, you know, we knew who they were. We seen pictures of them. So it's kind of like they didn't know us. And we started telling our story. We first started off with Joshua 1. And we told the story what happened here in Hemphill. They were moved so much. And we didn't know which direction we were going at the time, because we thought about doing something else and had a plan to do that. But they let us know right quick education was very important. So we have a lot of children in our area, you say a 200-mile radius, that don't really get the education that they need in this area. So that was our plan, is try to leave a legacy for the next generation of children in a 200-mile radius, for this museum to be able to reach out and teach children, you know, or maybe we'll have an astronaut one day from this area, that a scientist, an engineer, or something to do with NASA. Anyway, since then, in 21 years, we've been moving forward. Gradually, we've had a lot of setbacks, COVID, different things. I can go on with all excuses that we've been hit with. But, you know, God has been with us the whole way. He has not let us down, and He will not let us down. We're getting older. Don't know where we're going next, but we're going to keep moving forward and keep working towards education and helping our young people in our community. Because you never know. You know, it has touched several lives. And there's people that were here during the shuttle when it broke up over Texas that work at NASA now. And it's an inspiration from this area that drove them and moved towards having a job in NASA. Who wants to go next?
I guess we'll sing this last one.
Yeah.
Good morning. My perspective is a little different. I want to thank the community. Last year was the 20th anniversary, and we had a 3-day acknowledgement celebration. A lot of smiles, a lot of tears, and here we are 21 years later. And today is going to be a good day. And Brian, we want to thank you for donating your time to us today. And later on, we'll have school kids and more folks from the community in. Brian will be here all day today. To our family and friends on Facebook that's watching this, we thank you. We appreciate you. We go throughout the year and look to see how many views we have. So where the room is sparse, there's probably a couple of hundred people watching this event on Facebook. So technology is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Our museum is growing, and we are successful, and we're only successful because of you and the community. There are people, no matter what, they support us. Today we have refreshments, compliments of Hemphill Care Center, Chance Construction, Wolfhead Construction, and Marcia Cooper, and Chad Gay, and I'm probably forgetting someone. We do our 2 major fundraisers every year. Our golf tournament, by the way, is coming up in April, and for you folks that are golfers, it's really a good time. Although I think the same team wins every year. So I think they have a ringer on the team. But I also want to thank our partners, NASA Alumni. We were grateful. We are grateful. And without them, I don't think we would be advancing as fast as we have been. We received donations last year, and we've already gotten a donation from, Baker Hughes. Baker Hughes already, we got our first corporate donation already this year. And we rely, we depend, we need those donations. So I know I'm the professional beggar, but I just want to give credit where credit is due and let you know we get no federal funding. We operate on donations, and the sales from the gift shop. So somebody has to pay the bills and keep the lights on. Also, I want to talk about little things. It's the little things that add up that become big things. And Jonathan Ward, I know he has not typically missed any of our functions, but in case you guys don't know who Jonathan Ward is, Jonathan and Mike wrote a book called Bringing Columbia Home, and we have books for sale, autographed in the gift shop. But that's a book that keeps on giving. We get visitors from all over because they read that book. They read that book, and it is nothing to have someone to walk through the doors that say, oh, we just drove from Fort Worth just to see the museum. There are many, many stories like that. Basically, we are a success because of the support from the community, both locally and nationally. And we appreciate you all. We need you all. And thank you.
Okay, so I guess it's my time now. So I'm Belinda Gay, and I'm a volunteer here as well. So what I want to talk about is the legacy of Columbia, the legacy of all of the volunteers who helped in the recovery. And I want to talk about where, our astronauts loved education. They were not scared of the unknown. And thank God there are people who are willing to take those chances and to explore things that are on the scary side of life. And we're very grateful for that. And but I want to talk about our museum. We have established a scholarship program for our students, and so we should have that posted pretty soon on our website. So if any of you homeschooling, anyone can apply for this scholarship, and it's to further your education in space and in the STEM program. And we'd love to have your application. and so that we can present to you a scholarship from our museum. It's not a lot, but it's a start. And if we can continue the legacy of our crew of STS 107 through our scholarships or the things we're able to do for our students by having programs here at the museum to get them exposed to higher education, then we're doing our part in carrying on their legacy. And so today, Brian will be here all day long. We encourage you, if you homeschool or if you have students, to bring them out and meet him. He is a walking history. One of his experiments was on board Columbia, and it was found in Nacogdoches, and he'll probably touch on that in one of his presentations. So if you, he'll be here to 5, so please take the opportunity to come out. It's free. Of course, if you would like to make a donation, we would take your donation. And I wanted to talk about another thing on how our community continues to support us. Like, I had a call a couple of weeks ago from our high school art teacher, and she asked me, well, we're going to do some artwork for the museum, because we normally do, and things have been kind of crazy and hectic this year, and I fell down on the job and didn't get the phone call out early enough, but she was kind enough to have her students, they wanted to participate, because the way this works is they do an art, whether it's a painting or a ceramic or whatever, and we display here at the museum, and we're going to have it on display for the entire month of February, and we'll be selling some of these pieces. And part of that money will go back to that student, and they're going to donate 50% to our museum to help us in our operations efforts. So, like I said, it takes, like Vicki said, it's the little things that make the big picture happen, and we very much appreciate everyone's participation and help in keeping the museum alive and going forward. And we'd like to invite you to the museum to hear our story, to hear about what happened here in Sabine County if you don't know. If you weren't born, there was a lot of our kids now that are coming through that have no clue what the shuttle was about. So it's a great opportunity for us to reach out to them and share that part of our history. So we thank you all for coming and for listening on Facebook. And we have something else.
I forgot. Could we have all of the museum board members to stand?
Yes.
Even the members that was on the memorial when Judge Lee put us together.
And
Come on,
Ellen.
Ellen, since Steve's here
Steve.
and Jenny left, so.
Yes, and
Thank
we're
you so much.
grateful for their continued support and helping
Yes.
us. And thank y'all for taking
Tell Lane we miss him today.
We're thankful for those board members and also the ones who are on the Columbia Memorial Committee, and some of them are the same people, and you've already stood, and so, but I just want to say we are thankful for you, because if it weren't for the board members on the museum or the Columbia Committee, then none of this would have taken place. And so we're just thankful for people who are willing to donate their time so that these commemorations can take place and we have a nice place to have them. Our guest speaker today, I'm excited to introduce to you, is Brian Ewenson. And Brian is an aerospace educator, consultant, and professional speaker on aviation and aerospace. He was born in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and speaks multiple languages. He has presented to more than 250,000 people in the past 20 years at schools and museums and science centers and community groups such as Boys and Girls Clubs, Scouts, and as well as Aerospace and Education Conference, and for corporations with audiences ranging from 4 years old to 94. Brian has been really busy, and that's something very good to include these all the way down to age 4 and all. Well, Brian has worked for the Canadian Space Agency, Lockheed Martin Space Day, and Challenger Learning Center. He has designed, developed, and flown student and corporate experiments on the Space Shuttle and International Space Station, and subsequently trained astronauts to do his work in space. He was the conceptualizer, designer, and technical writer for Spaceport Calgary, the world's first air and space museum located in an international airport. He has served as the director of the education at Calgary Aerospace Museum, Pima Air and Space Museum, Spaceport Sheboygan, and as executive director of the Challenging Learning Center of the Southwest Challenger Learning Center of Wyoming and Spaceport Sheboygan. He currently serves as Spaceport Sheboygan's executive director. He has co-authored Hangar Flying, an up-close and personal look at airplanes, and The Thrill of Flight. And Brian is a certified in astronomy, aviation, and space exploration badge counselor for the Boy Scouts of America. And Brian has a background in astrophysics, in American history, and political science, and elementary education from John Abbott College and McGill University in Montreal, Canada. Quite a resume. We're honored to have Brian with us today. Would you welcome him? Get older, we start to need these things. Thank you for inviting me back to Hemphill. It's always a wonderful honor to actually come down here and not only present, but to be a part of this memorial service or commemorative service for our fallen astronauts. As alluded to in the introduction, my name is Brian Ewenson. I'm an aerospace educator by trade. When I was growing up in Canada, we did not have astronauts at the time, but it was a family trip from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, with these two little rugrats here at 4 years old. My twin brother and I were exposed to the opportunities of aviation and space. My twin brother is a Air Canada Airbus 330 captain. He gets to fly all over the world. I wanted to fly a lot higher, go much faster, be on time, and not lose your luggage, so I actually joined the space program. But it was our family that gave us the opportunity, driving over 1,500 miles from Montreal down to Florida, and we were so excited by airplanes and spaceships that was the gee whiz moment where we said at 4 years old, this is what we want to do when we grow up. Neither of my parents were engineers or scientists. My dad was a Montreal police officer serving 35 years in the city of Montreal. My mom was a college admissions officer for a local college, but it was giving us the opportunity, exposing us by these family trips that led us to these wonderful careers. But it was the support of not only family, friends, but our teachers in particular in our lives that led us there. I was lucky enough to spend a little over 20 years in the Space Shuttle program. I was certified in rendezvous and proximity operations, teaching the astronauts how to fly the Space Shuttle. When you're sitting in math class and you're like, where am I ever going to use this math and science in the real world? Well, this is the real world where we use it every single day. Being a proud Canadian first, also a proud American, dual citizen. I was certified in telerobotics, operations of the Canadarm, teaching the astronauts how to use the Canadarm on both the shuttle and space station. Right now I'm retired, but I would love to go back and teach them to use Canadarm3 for the Artemis program when we return to the moon. But towards the end of my career, I wanted to do something completely different. So as part of a department called ECLIS, or Environmental Control and Life Support Systems on Spacesuits. That acronym has more S's than the word Mississippi, but in my later presentations we'll talk about acronyms and how those are imbued into the space program. I do speak, read, and write relatively well, 4 languages, learning a 5th, but this is my 6th language. At NASA, we have 23,000 approved acronyms to work in the Space Shuttle program. I can speak to you guys in 3 and 4 letter words all afternoon, and you may or may not understand what we're talking about.
Now, I was lucky enough in my career to work with over 70 different astronauts from 16 different countries. One of the neat things about the astronauts, and we're going to learn a little bit today, is these are just ordinary people that get to do extraordinary things. I was extremely lucky to work with this good-looking gentleman here for a while. He was my boss at NASA at Lockheed Martin, and none other than former Senator and astronaut John Glenn. When I first met Senator Glenn at the Johnson Space Center, I was like, Senator, Colonel? He's like, just call me John. I'm like, dude, you're in the history books. I can't call you John. So we settled on Sir. But one of the things that actually grounded me in my career was he said, we are equals. I was one of the 43,000 people working in the Space Shuttle program, and he said, we can't do what we do, going to space and coming back safely, without the 43,000 people that do their job every single day. And that really grounded me in my career, understanding that these people that we put on pedestals, really heroes, still are considered heroes, were just ordinary people who were given extraordinary opportunities to do things. And I consider myself incredibly lucky to have been one of those 43,000 people. Now, I was also lucky enough to work with Rick Husband on STS-96. We had Canadian astronaut Julie Payette on board, and at the time I was living in Calgary, Alberta. Wonderful, wonderful place. You may have heard of that little rodeo we have called the Calgary Stampede. And Mr. Abbey, who's a good friend, the former director of the Johnson Space Center, every time we had an astronaut crew fly in space, when we were doing the Canadian post-flight tour, he says, I want it to be in July. I want them to go to the Calgary Stampede, and I'm coming along. So Mr. Abbey came to Calgary a few times. But this here was with the STS-96 crew at the Calgary Stampede, and Rick and his wife were extremely happy to be in Calgary. They said the folks were very much like Texans and Amarillo. We showed them the Western way of life out there. And both him and Julie Payette actually rode a ride at the Stampede called the Slingshot, and they got blasted basically a couple of 100 feet in the air, and all the media was like, so what is it compared to the shuttle? Well, not bad, but the shuttle's a bit better ride going up. Now, as the one thing the current I want to say through this presentation is basically, everyone at NASA is just ordinary people that given extraordinary opportunities to do amazing things. And I say that too when I look at this community and what you guys did. You are ordinary people who did extraordinary stuff. You have become a part of the NASA family, and we believe we have become a part of your family as well. Now, the foundations of mission control were set way back in the 1960s by a gentleman named Gene Kranz. The key foundations of mission control is to instill within ourselves these qualities essential for professional excellence: discipline, competence, confidence, responsibility, toughness, as well as teamwork. To always be aware that suddenly and unexpectedly we may find ourselves in a role where our performance has the ultimate consequences. To recognize that the greatest error is not to have tried and failed, but that in trying we did not give our best effort. Now, a lot of people say with the Columbia accident, was there negligence? Did we do something wrong? Did someone go to jail for making those mistakes? Jail will not solve anything. 21 years from now, or these past 21 years, I still go to bed every single night asking myself, did I make the small incremental mistake that led to the loss of my friends and colleagues? The Space Shuttle had 2.5 million movable parts Our expected reliability was 99%. On a successful flight, we will still have 2,500 systems failures on a successful flight. Jail would not solve anything. We carry that burden for the rest of our lives, asking ourselves, did we do our best? Did we do it right? Did we make mistakes? Absolutely. When you look at the Challenger accident as well, that accident was caused by an $8 piece that failed. But there was a series or chain of events that if even one portion of that chain of events did not occur, that flight would have been 100% successful. It is a heavy, heavy burden when you put people on board of a rocket with the explosive potential of a 10-ton nuclear bomb. We're going to accelerate them to 25 times the speed of sound, and the fact that we did that 135 times reasonably successful is a great testament to the folks that come to work every single day working in this industry. Now, as I said, I worked in the Space Shuttle program. We know all the data. It's 184 feet tall, weighs 1.5 million pounds, etc. But the first time you walk up onto the launch pad with that behemoth, you sit there in absolute, complete awe. How the heck do we get this fat little lady off the launch pad and into space? It is just an amazing marvel that I still don't think we will ever see a similar spacecraft fly in the future. It was the world's first ever reusable vehicle, carrying people into space, as you said, 135 times. The orbiter was about the same size, as 2 feet shorter than a DC-9. When we think about the external fuel tank, Orville and Wilbur Wright's first flight in 1903, distance-wise, height-wise, and width-wise, could have occurred inside the Space Shuttle's external fuel tank without touching a side. This is where we say we've come a long way in 120 plus years of flying. Now, the astronauts, going back all the way to 1958, were traditionally male, white test pilots. We've actually come a long way in the space program. Our modern astronaut corps has men, women, minorities, people from 16 different countries flying in space. Getting to work with people with different cultures, different languages, from around the world, working together with a common goal, shows us that the space program is not a divisive kind of program. It's actually a program that reflects who we are, not only as a nation, but as a planet. When we look at different folks, the shuttle program afforded astronauts the opportunity to fly as many as 7 times. Colonel Jerry Ross is a good friend of myself, and Belinda, he's from a small town in Indiana, not too far from Sheboygan, as well, Crown Point, Indiana. But the shuttle program allowed astronauts to fly multiple flights. Astronauts now in the space station program, we're flying a total of 12 astronauts a year for 6-month increments. We have astronauts that entered the space program in 1996 who are only making their first flights now in 2023. So it's a long road to get there. The most recent cadre of astronauts selected at NASA is our Artemis Corps of astronauts. They actually will not be flying to the International Space Station, but they're actually going to be returning America to the moon and beyond. Once again, we can't do it all by ourselves. We have 32 different countries from around the world that have signed on for the Artemis Accords. We're going to return to the moon in 2025. Unlike Apollo, where we went for 1 to 3 days, we're actually building a space station around the moon called the Lunar Gateway, where the astronauts will actually spend 6 months to a year orbiting the moon, and we're building a base on the moon where the astronauts can actually live and work on the lunar surface for extended stays. Now, when we think about safety, this is the crew that's been selected for Artemis 2, the first African-American astronaut to go to the moon, the first woman to leave low Earth orbit, and a good friend of mine, Canadian astronaut, will be the first Canadian, Jeremy Hansen, to actually leave Earth orbit and go to the moon. We were going to the moon in November of 2023, but at NASA, we have to deal with safety. Just about 3 weeks ago, it was announced that this flight is being delayed until November of 2025. We have a 1-year delay because we have found significant problems with the heat shield, which obviously led to the demise of Columbia, and some parachute riggings and some Kapton wiring in the spacecraft. Rather than rushing and going ahead and doing this and maybe even losing a crew on the way to the moon, we have learned from both the Columbia and Challenger accidents that it's hurry up and wait. We will go only when it is reasonably safe to do so. So this crew will be going to the moon in November of 2025. Now, astronauts realize they are in a risky business. At NASA, all 3 of our accidents occurred in the same week over a 36-year period. We lost the Apollo 1 crew in a ground fire during training in a plugs-out test on January 27th of 1967. On January 28, 1986, we lost Challenger 73 seconds into flight. And on February 1st of 2003, we lost the Columbia crew. Gus Grissom said it very well before the Apollo 1 flight. We are in a risky business. We hope that if anything happens to us, it will not delay the program. The conquest of space is worth the risk of life. Now, I was extremely lucky to actually work with the Columbia crew, but this shows you here just how risky spaceflight is. This here is significant incidents and close calls in human spaceflight from 1959 all the way through to a little into the year 2000. Every single one of these incidents here was within what we call one redundancy of loss of crew and vehicle. Every time we launch a vehicle into space, it is a risky endeavor. Every single one of these incidents were potentially fatal incidents, from the Mercury program all the way through to the loss of Spaceship Two with Virgin Galactic. Space is hard. Even in 2018, after almost 50 years of launching people into space, American astronaut Nick Hague and a Russian cosmonaut were on their way to the International Space Station, what seemed like a routine flight. Just about 2.5-3 minutes into flight, their actual booster rocket failed to separate, collided with the second stage. Rocket blew up. The emergency launch escape system tower pulled the crew away from the vehicle on a ballistic trajectory, landed about 400 kilometers, 300 some odd miles from the launch site, but they were safe. They were able to reunite almost an hour and a half after their attempted launch with their wives. Nick Hague, the American astronaut, was his first flight. His wife was also a U.S. Air Force colonel, and she said, "Don't you ever do this to me again." But one of the big things with our astronauts is we're slightly competitive, and to get your gold astronaut wings, you have to get above the Kármán line, so 62 miles above the Earth. When this accident occurred, they were at about 42 miles. The capsule went ballistically 49, 50, 55, 58, 59 miles, and started coming back down. When Nick returned to Houston about 2 or 3 days after the accident, the astronaut office friends said, "You're not a real astronaut, you didn't reach the Kármán line." said, I had a rocket blow up under my backside. I am more of an astronaut than any of you guys. But he not only successfully made it to the International Space Station about 6 months later, it was just announced yesterday he will be the commander of SpaceX Dragon 9, flying this August back to the space station. So his wife was like, don't let that happen again. When we look at the space shuttle